There's a special election going on in District 1 down south, County Board of Supervisors. And we didn't endorse anybody. There was nobody to endorse. This was a situation where I've said before, there was no lesser of two evils. There were just two evils. And I think evil is hyperbole. But they definitely, neither candidate, there wasn't a single candidate that ran who was even close to representing Second Amendment, our values in any way. Both candidates that are left after the primary have huge problems, enormous problems. So I wanted to take a minute and talk about what exactly do we look at when we endorse somebody? Because, again, we didn't endorse anybody this time around. It comes down to four different things. We have a board that actually, we vet and we endorse. We discuss first, and then we vote and endorse. And the four criteria are, number one, Second Amendment, obviously. Like, they have to be pro-Second Amendment in thought and deed. It's not just answers from a questionnaire. We actually look to see how have they voted, what have their public statements been, how, can they answer questions face to face? Are they a gun owner? How much experience do they have? Are they with us philosophically? Are they with us, as far as, how they live their life, or, where exactly are they? So Second Amendment, that's obviously the primary thing. But that's not the only thing. The next three things are viability, character, and effectiveness. And I want to go through those real quick. Viability means even if you're massively pro-Second Amendment, you know everything there is to know about guns, and you're a supporter of everything that is Second Amendment, if you're not able to win a race, if you're not doing the things it takes to be successful in a campaign, we can't support you. It doesn't make any sense for us to tell our members, hey, help this person win, when that person isn't doing the things that they need to do to win. So are they a viable candidate? Have they ever run for office before? Are they able to raise funds? Do they have volunteers that will help them? Is their plan viable? I remember one time I talked to a candidate and said, okay, how much do you think you're going to need to run? And he said, probably about $20,000. And I said, okay, the last person who ran and won, they needed $60,000 to win. So why do you only need $20,000? Well, because he pulled that number out of his ear.
I was going to say
another
part.
He pulled that number out of his ear. I said, okay, fine. I said, look, let's say someone waves a magic wand and gives you that $20,000. What are you going to spend it on? And he had no idea. So candidate viability is extremely important. Character. Now, I admit character is actually, it's a fairly low bar, because I think you can find character flaws in any human being. It's kind of a human trait that we have the occasional character flaws. What we're looking for here is, let's say you're pro-Second Amendment, you're an extremely viable candidate, you're somebody who's maybe held office before or something like that, you've raised money, you have connections, you have volunteers, you have name ID, you have all the things you need to win. And again, you're pro-Second Amendment, but you've broken a law. You're under investigation, or you actually have a criminal history, or, there's some kind of extremely concerning thing that you've done. Maybe you were convicted for it. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you were caught on camera, or maybe you were whatever. Character flaws are important. We can't just turn a blind eye and say, hey, this guy's pro-Second Amendment. We don't care if he, kicks puppies and, whatever. I mean, it's if they've broken the law or done something pretty extreme when it comes to being unethical, or we won't support them. We just can't. It just doesn't look good. You end up not being able to trust somebody if they've done something so extreme. And then it reflects poorly on us, like, hey, we say we value, or we have these values and principles, but then we back somebody who's done something, horrific. So character issues, you might get disqualified if there are character issues, but admittedly, pretty low bar when it comes to character issues. And then effectiveness, even if you pass all the other three and you get into office and you can't get anything done, then forget it. What's the point? We need you to stand up for us when it's time to stand up for us. We don't need you to build your entire career around the Second Amendment. If you're a city council member, pave the roads, make sure the trash is taken out and, water's delivered and whatever, balance the budget and keep whatever. So, but if you can't get anything done, and you're telling us like, hey, I'm pro Second Amendment. All right, well, if you get into office, you're not helping us in any way. And I'll tell you where that really comes into effect. Mostly with incumbents. Hey, man, we've endorsed you twice now. We got you elected, we got you reelected, and now you're going for another reelection. You haven't done anything for us. We've even asked you to do a couple of things for us. You haven't done anything for us. Then forget it. We don't do that. So a lot of people on the Republican side are supporting John McCann. He is the Republican in the race. And there's kind of this thought like, well, hey, he's the Republican. Aren't you supporting the Republican? No, he's anti-gun. Full stop. He voted for a gun ban. He voted for a magazine ban while he was on the city council. He voted for the expansion of unconstitutional gun violence restraining orders. There is absolutely no way that we would support him. But I recently he put out a tweet, and he was bragging about the fact that that Chula Vista's budget increased by $30 million. $30 million. He was actually bragging about what a great thing it is. I'm proud to announce that our city's budget for the upcoming fiscal year, starting this July, has increased by $30 million. He's proud to announce that. Well, many cities are cutting back. We're investing in what matters most, blah, 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 blah. And he goes on and on and on. And I criticized him for that. Not because we're a tax organization, okay? And I think people miss that point. We're criticizing him because he's going against his own stuff, his own criteria. He's holding up a mirror, or we're holding up a mirror and saying, hey, you're Mr. Fiscal guy. That's what you're running your whole campaign on. But here you are saying you're proud to announce that there was a $30 million increase. Like, what's going on here? And basically it reaffirms all the things we've said about him. He's not honest. He's everything that's wrong with politics. He's putting the spin on it. If he really truly had principles and a backbone, he would have said, look, I don't agree with this $30 million increase. But I worked with my colleagues and did the best I could. I think this is going to be a problem for the following reasons. But whatever, there's a lot of ways he could have handled this rather than completely laying down for his entire city council and going against everything he says he supports. This was pure political spin. And we don't need that in the Second Amendment community. If you say what you mean, and mean what you say. And let me show you, Rich, can you pull up his Facebook page? Let's pull up his, there it is. Okay, so this is him, John McCann for supervisor, right? Now, page down just a little bit. Let's look at his first post. Paloma Aguirre is just wrong for us. From new taxes to anti-police policies, refusing payroll, blah, 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 blah. Okay, new taxes. By the way, Paloma is anti-gun as well, and she's running. We don't recommend you vote for either of them. And then page down a little bit more. And then, boom, Paloma Aguirre equals higher taxes. Okay, so you look at these messages. These aren't the messages. Number one, he's some of these, like this sewage thing, he's trying to take her strength away from her. He hasn't really done anything at all when it comes to the sewage in the Tijuana Valley. She is the mayor of Imperial Beach, and they've actually done some things when it comes to trying to clean up the Tijuana River Valley. So he's trying to take that away from her. He's trying to make it look like she hasn't done anything, and that he has, which he hasn't. There's not one thing the mayor of Chula Vista has done to clean up the Tijuana River problem.
He's not even touting anything on his own, if anything positive that he's done. He's just...
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is there's a lot of talk about raising taxes.
Right.
There's not a lot of talk about anything else. They don't talk about the fact that he supports. The point is they agree on many of this. There's very little difference between their positions when it comes to social issues like illegal immigration, LGBT, that sort of thing. But he's trying to focus on taxes. Meanwhile, he's really, really proud that Chula Vista has raised their budget by $30 million. And, I pointed out that $30 million, that is twice as much as the entire city of Santee spends on their law enforcement. That's how much $30 million is. Adding 30, now Chula Vista is a much bigger city, but $30 million is an enormous amount of money for a city budget. An enormous amount of money. They could have taken $30 million and they could have expanded their law enforcement so that it was 3 times the size or twice as big as, or 2 times the size of Santee's entire police force. And then the other thing we talked about last time on the show is the fact that he actually championed a tax raise, a tax increase last year. It's not like it's ancient history. As the mayor, he actually increased taxes. Again, this isn't about taxes. This is about character. This is about, who he is. Like, we're holding a mirror up to this guy and saying, hey, if you're going to tell people one thing and then do another on taxes, on all these other issues, if you're not going to chime in on important issues, if you're going to, conduct yourself in such a way, and, oh, by the way, you voted for a gun ban, we're out. Don't vote for anybody. Nobody in this race is worth it. So.
It's about integrity.
It's about integrity. Yep. Hey, thanks for watching Gun Owners Radio. I hope you loved that clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media. And check out our website at gunownersradio.com.